So I was hoping to put this up on my bench, but it's too damn heavy. I don't feel like giving myself a hernia, so I'll just do it on the floor. So here's the new one. And I'm going to start on the passenger side here. So if you see this lip here, that's right there. So you can't knock it out this way. You have to knock it out going this way because the other side doesn't have a lip. So it's got to get punched out this way. And you see this flat spot here? This has to go in a certain way. So this flat spot is right here. So you got to make sure you put this back in there like that. And I did mark it. I'm going to scribe it a little more now. And what I'm going to do is got a Sawzall here. I'm going to cut, I'll just show you on this one. I'm going to try to cut right there and right there, and then knock out the center section. And then I'm going to come in with my air chisel, start beating on these corners, fold it in a little, and try to knock it out. So let me get started and I'll be back. Alright, so here's the center section of that isolator bushing. It literally took 10 seconds just to cut this out. Just give me more room to work. I also took a piece of pig mat and covered the spline right here so that none of the rubber or none of any metal shavings are going to fall and get into the splines or the grease that's there. Alright, so now I'm going to use this puppy and start beating the living daylights out of this thing. Alright, wish me luck. And wear safety goggles at this point. And I'm also wearing gloves. Alright, I'll be back. Okay, so there it is. I knocked it out. I'm gonna clean up the surface a little. Here's the new one. Put some grease on here. Well, I still have to do that one. But I gotta figure out how I'm gonna press these back in place. Alright, so let me just get this one out and then we'll worry about how am I gonna press them in. Alright, I'll be back. And it took me like 5 minutes. I just kept working my way around and punching it out slowly but surely. Alright, I'll be back. Alright, so I got the second one out, the one on top, the one that was broken. Now, it was in like this. So here it is. This lip is very thin, and I really couldn't get the blade on it. So I actually started from this side, the side that has the lip, and I just knocked the lip over. So basically I just boom, 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 knocked the lip over, folded it in, and just started working it out. I just couldn't get the blade on here. I didn't want to dig into the metal, into the housing. So they're both out. I'm gonna go get some lunch. Then I gotta figure out how I'm gonna press these in. All right, I'll be back. All right, so welcome back. I got the new one pressed in. I had to go rent a ball joint press. And I kind of had to use some parts that I had laying around. Took me a while. I did use my air gun. Let me show you what I did. Okay, so basically, well, here's the problem. I kind of needed two of these sleeves. So this one fit over there like that. But then you couldn't use these two pucks that it came with because this is in the way. It doesn't line up right. So regardless of which puck or which way you use it. So I took flat piece of metal that I have, like that. And then I took another flat piece like that, and then I put the ball joint press put it over like that, and I compressed it. But then I got it like 80% of the way, and the problem was, see how this protrudes outward? You know, I needed another sleeve this size, but it doesn't come with it. It comes with one larger, but it doesn't line up, and it would just try to pull off. Plus, this wasn't wide enough to accommodate this, 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 and one of these here. That wasn't wide enough. So I got it in about 80% of the way. So basically when this part here was flush with here is where I had to stop. So what I did was I just took a piece of wood and I cut a relief into it with one of those spade blades. So that's a 1.5 inch spade blade. So I cut the relief into it. I put it over like that. And then I was able to just take the ball joint press and whale it on. So that's how I did it. But it took a while. It took a while for me to figure out. But that's all I did. I took a 1.5 inch spade blade. I made a recess in there. Only about 1/2 inch deep. Otherwise, if I went like an inch, you know, deep, any deeper, the wood probably just would have split. And that's it. So that's how I got it. Okay, now I'm going to try this one over here. And remember, I had scribed the line here where the original isolator bushing was, and I matched it up the best I could. But you know what? I think that's part of the problem. I think that's why it's breaking. Check this out. So you see, basically the isolator bushing is connected here and here. This is like paper thin, this little piece right here. And all of the weight, and this is the top of it here. And this thing's really heavy. So when you're putting in gear, when you're getting on the throttle, this is going up and down like this. But if you were to turn this and have the actual part where the rubber is this way, you know, then it would be tighter and less likely to tear and rip. This is a problem. So if you're going to do this, I would spin it this way and have this two part, the part where the meat is, where the rubber is, I would have that pointing north and south. Because this is the movement this is seeing. This isn't really seeing movement like this. So I think this is a mistake, and I think this is probably why it broke. It's too late now, but I should have put it like that. So this way, it really would have, you know, twice the strength. Say like this, it moves up and down pretty easy. But like this, it doesn't budge at all. You know, but with the weight of the car, it'll have some flex. But now I had looked for polyurethane bushings. I called Energy Suspension. Called all over. Called Four Wheel Parts, see if they knew. Nobody made a polyurethane one. I saw one that was solid, but it was made from Egypt, and it was $300-something, so I wasn't going to do that. But anyway, alright, so let me get back to that one. Hopefully this goes a little easier. It's already dark. I've been at this all day. Alright, I'll be back. Alright, so I got that one and that one in, and I bolted the new one on. I wish they were all this easy. Just 3 18mm nuts and bolts. This one, it went in the same way. I used my tool. This sticks out about 1/2 inch. So by cutting that relief. Boom. Then I was able to press it in so it's fully seated. And this one's fully seated too as well. So I think I'm just going to try to slide it in the car and throw in the bolt there, and maybe put these two in, and then that's it for today. So let me try to get that in, and then I'll be back. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. So I got the axle, differential, whatever you want to call it, in place. I just put the bolts through. I didn't put the nuts in yet. I didn't really tighten these. And I got the one on top in. Right over there, you can see the tip of it. So now I'm gonna put the nuts on, tighten them down, and then this will be secure and done. I am going to strongly recommend, if you're going to try to do this project, don't do what I did. I don't have a transmission jack, so I use my regular floor jack. That right there. And this is so cumbersome and awkwardly shaped, so it really wasn't balanced well, so I jacked it up as high as I could get it. But then it kind of wanted to fall off. And this was the end of the day. I had been working on it all day, and I was exhausted and tired. And of course this was falling off. So basically I had to kick, and I'm laying on my back too, so I had to like kick the floor jack off to the side, and then with two hands and both my legs try to hold this darn thing like this up in place. And I was trying to fall in, and then try to get the nuts, the bolts in. Real difficult. And this thing is so damn heavy. Honestly, it's got to be 175 pounds. It's so heavy. Maybe even 200. So please do this with multiple hands, or use a proper tranny jack and have it strapped down. Plus another problem was my lift like stopped here, so I couldn't get it all the way up, so then I had to like get it up over this wood and slide it, but it was such a pain in the ass. Just don't do that. So now I'm going to put the bolts, the nuts in, and tighten this up, and then we'll start assembling, reassembling, you know, the suspension, the steering, and slide the axles into here. Alright, I'll be back. Okay, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I got the 3 nuts and bolts tightened. The one up here honestly took a real long time because you can't really get a tool in there. So what I did was, well, it was kind of hard because I'm doing this by myself, and I had to hold the wrench here and then reach back here and up and over to get to that bolt up there. So, and I'm laying on my back, so I took one of these and I got it over the nut, and then with the other hand I was trying to use this, but it was too violent and this thing would fall out of my hand, so I used the air ratchet and I got it like that. Okay, I got the dry shaft back in, and do yourselves a favor, mark the dry shaft and the hub so that you can line everything back up. This car is 7 years old and the dry shaft's never been removed, and I wanted to put it back the way it was because there was no vibrations and it drove very smooth, and God forbid I put it back and it wasn't in line with the way it originally was, then I have a vibration, then I wouldn't know where it was coming from. So I had just taken, oh, you could see right up there, you can see those 2 black marks, and I made like 2 corresponding marks on the dry shaft, so they matched up, and I did the same on the back. So that's back where it was originally. Sorry, trying to get out from under the car. So then, and I also marked the, see the mark on the CV shaft, right here and there, that lined up. So I gently guided it in. I was very careful with the rubber seal over here, and then I pushed the knuckle up and I just married the knuckle with the upper control arm and just have this one nut holding it in place. And it slid all the way in, no issues. I turned the rotor, which turns the axle, no clunking or binding, so I know this is in there and it's seated good. So now it's just a reversal of what I did originally, tightening this up, tightening this tie rod end, reconnecting the sway bar end link to the sway bar, and putting the brake back. I'm also going to wipe this down because I got some grease on it, so it doesn't, interfere with the braking power. And that's it. So the hardest part was getting that one nut at the top there. That was real hard. Can't even say it. That was the hardest part. Getting this axle shaft slid right in, no problem. Took 3 seconds. Then I'll reconnect this ABS line here and here. So let me get this buttoned up and then I'll be back. Okay, so I've got this side all buttoned up. I did have to use a C-clamp to compress the brake pistons because the car has been sitting like this. This is like 4 days now it's been like this, all disassembled. I haven't had the time to work on it steadily. So just had to use the C-clamp, and I'll have to do the same on the other side. And the other side is pretty much the same, so I don't think I should show you guys that, but it's just going in reverse. But let me button up the other side and I'll be back. Okay, so I am finishing up draining the differential fluid. It's a 14 millimeter hex bit socket. So I had to run out and buy this, like $6. So that's it. Yes, I do have drain pans, but they're in my shed. And I knew most of it came out previously, so I just using this cup. Alright, so I've got everything buttoned back up. And I got everything to line back up to where it originally was, because I had made marks on everything. So I got everything, both axle shafts, the dry shafts in the front and in the back. So everything lined up. I'm going to leave the 2 covers off. I took one in the back. I don't know if I showed you guys that, by the transmission. I took one off there and then the larger one here up front. Because I'm going to, over the weekend, I'm going to gunk this, clean everything down, and then I'll put it back. So everything buttoned back up, and there's no binding, no clicking, everything spins good. So hopefully in a few minutes I could drop it down and take it for a test drive. Alright guys, I'll be back, and I'll let you know how it went. Okay, so here's 2 tricks for you. There is not enough room. This is the top fill plug. So I put the drain one back in, I put some sealant. There's not enough room to put that hex bit and a ratchet hitting this subframe here. So I take a, what is this, 14 millimeter wrench, put it there, and I'm going to use the wrench to turn it, break it loose, but it's really tight, it doesn't want to budge, so I'm going to put a pipe over it and my battery is dying on my phone, so the flash shut off. So I'm going to put a pipe over this wrench to give me some leverage and break it loose. Alright, I'll be back. Alright guys, I'm all done. Don't forget to reattach that vent line and that one electrical line for your four-wheel drive. Let me show you. This is the fluid that I use, 75W140. Valvoline, full synthetic, like $20. It basically took two of them, and what I did was I just ran a long hose from the tip into the fill port, but I basically just squeezed it and it ran down. So that's it. Gonna get the car off the ramp and take it for a ride. I'll be back.